There was a prison here called Serbia, and during the war uh, thousands of female prisoners here have been murdered by the Nazi regime. This whole place, Novolipki, is entirely destroyed almost. Another thing I didn't know, I passed by this place so many times by tram, but never really had a chance to walk by. And apparently here on the square there used to be the Tsarist prison known as Pawiak. So that was way before the Second and even First World War. It was, well, 200 years ago, erected between 1830 and 1836. And during the Second World War, well, many public or private buildings were just, well, the original goals were changed, and whatever was happening was ended and expelled, and then the Gestapo took over and it held then 100,000 prisoners. So original prisoners, original prisons were then taken over and new political prisoners were put in. Eventually, during the Warsaw Uprising in 1944, it was destroyed and only some parts remain. Look at this. That's just fascinating, isn't it? That this is actually an original part of what was standing here. Just the amount of destruction that took place here. Well, this is all new, right? This was added during 1965 when this sort of memorial square. Oh, there's even a museum, which I have on my list. Forget about that. Prison Museum Pawiak. I should take my parents here when they're back in Warsaw. And then there is that tree. I don't know if that was ever a real tree. I suppose so. I have no idea, honestly. With a lot of, I suppose, resistance fighters. Maybe from the uprising. I honestly don't know. Or people from the prison even. Who knows? There's so much history and I'm just not very well informed. But in any case, I'm going to check out this museum in the near future. Zagowany fragment bramy. Well, so this was a fragment that's remaining of the prison gate, as I said. Look at this. Beautifully done. Just to commemorate history. They're so good at that here. So as I'm reading about prisoners and people related to this very imposing place, it's getting dark and suddenly the place completely lights up, and look at how beautifully this is done. This is in the honor, I believe, of many people having sacrificed their lives in the resistance movements. And just look how it's lit up with the red over the tree and the actual gate of the previous complex. Now don't forget that all the buildings in the back were not there until, what, 1960 or something? 55, I don't know. That's all new, right? And all of this was razed to the ground and you just had a field of rubble with the church where we earlier were, right there in the back. You can see the tower just piercing out over the building. But other than that, there was just nothing standing here in the whole wider surroundings, not that flat, absolutely nothing. So this concrete wasn't obviously here either. This is actually a prison built on top of the rubble and just on top of the foundations of what was 200 years ago an actual Tsarist prison, and it was the Gestapo prison, and then it was completely wiped off the map, and then they again rebuilt it into a museum. It's a super impressive place. Some people actually escaped the prison, such as Stanisław Mędrza Tomaszewski. I didn't know this story, but it's absolutely shocking in a sense that your mouth just falls open reading this. That he had so many interrogations that he asked an underground the organization he managed to communicate with, right, resistance movement, asked him for poison to poison himself, and he was actually injected with typhus so as to either die or get sort of bodily reaction, and then during hospital, within the prison hospital admission, dying, or nearly at least, and then escaping. And there is a movie about this escape. It's called Umbrałem aby żyć. I died to live. I'm definitely gonna watch that.